Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to what is quickly developing into one of the most amazing Asian Dota series, hell, Dota series in a long time. MUFC versus LGD International. This was supposed to be their coming out party. This was supposed to be their moment to show the world how well the Chinese practice schedule has worked for them, how training together as a team has really made the difference. Well, in game number one, it was all about MUFC. Ohio stole a bit of their thunder, stole a bit of the glory. Of course, Net with the great support play. Overall, MUFC just looking very strong. They take the 1-0 lead. Of course, this is a best out of three, and comeback certainly can happen. MUFC showed the resilience last game. Can LGD do the same today? We'll find out in a few moments. This is, of course, your GEST Dota 2 The Challenge. A double elimination, 4 teams, and the grand finals. Whoever wins that gets $1,500. Brought to you by Dota Talk, presented to you by Beyond the Summit. Myself, LD, and more importantly, my co-commentator for today. He is Luminous. Well, not co-commentator. My boss commentator, my base god. How you doing, Luminous?
I'm doing fine, although it's very 50-50 up in this. You're talking about the perseverance or the resilience of LGD. I don't think they're going to be going into any kind of ultra late game strat, although, of course, the first pick Luna, they can do so. But when they're running the Luna, they are running 5-man pushes, or at least from what we heard or what you told me earlier. And, of course, when you have Lunar Blessing giving your entire team, what is it, plus 38 damage? What's it, plus 40 damage? That's just a flat plus damage for your entire team. It takes me back to the days of Puppy when he ran 5 Vanguard strat and Luna was the central pusher of that lineup. If you guys are old school watching Dota 1 replays, if you know what I mean. If not, it was a great strat, and it seems like LGD is perhaps doing something similar in this particular game.
Well, this is something that's talking to gods about, and he feels that the TA and the Bounty Hunter are traps. LGD leave them in the pool. They take the Luna right away. You want to pick Bounty Hunter, you want to pick TA, go ahead, because when we're 5-manning, what are those heroes really going to do? Now, of course, you got to get to the point where you can 5-man, but we'll see. I mean, to some extent, some would argue that it can be a bit of a trap. And, well, what's left of the pool? I mentioned one of the big ones, and the Bounty Hunter, of course, he's still available. I'm not sure we'd see LGD go for that. I think much more likely something like the Chen. And I felt that was the Enchantress just in the last game. We saw a lot of the limitations of the hero. Sure, you can do some good damage. Sure, you can be a little bit more aggressive early on. But after that 10-minute mark, unless you have a great start, you're just not going to have the impact of a Chen. But, well, they go for 2 other components of their aggressive pushing. There's the setup hero and the Shadow Demon, your great initiator. Of course, Darkseer, he can farm the early pipe, the mech, which make this engine go, but they don't get the jungler. So if I'm MUFC, I'm banning Chen, I'm banning... Well, I guess they could run the Darkseer as the jungler, but they don't get that amazing source of creeps to tank the towers.
Yeah, very surprising to see Lone Druid being picked up here. Not that he's a poor hero by any means, but the fact that Keeper of the Light isn't picked up here. Traditionally, a very, very powerful hero against tri-lane, decent tri-lane hero in his own right. And if you expect a push coming, which, again, when you see a Luna first pick, that's kind of what you do expect. That is probably one of the best hero you could have on your arsenal. It does give you some pseudo teamfight with that line, especially against positioning-based heroes like Darkseer. Mono League is not bad by any means, but that Illuminate is just... It's just, cheese. It's so good against pushes. But seems like they're like, you know what? With Fable, we are still comfortable. Most likely they need one more AoE, whether it's like a power shot or a fissure, whatever that might be. They need one more AoE, and they should be fine. But for now, Lone Druid's going to be the pickup, and LGD is banning out the Nyx Assassin.
Yeah, this is respect. I mean, first the Tinker ban, of course, towards Ohio. Then the Nyx Assassin ban on the second stage, and... Yeah, I don't know. They get some really good lane controllers, like you mentioned. They have some counter pushing with Rubik. I feel this is still a good opening from LGD, and the way the draft has begun. Well, as I say that, MUFC banned out the Night Stalker. This is sort of, I wouldn't call it a core hero for them, but it's a nice addition. When you have Luna, the two synergize nicely together. Critting nighttime obviously helps Luna because she's got that better vision at night. Of course, that's a minor interaction, but just having a hero like Night Stalker who can charge in first, be the aggressor, lets Luna come in sort of on the back lines. Night Stalker scares heroes away from the tower, then Luna pushes them down. It's a nice combo, and LGD showed some good synergy between the two. And MUFC, they've really done their research. I feel like they were watching all of LGD in scaves because either that or they've scrimmed them a lot because they are banning out every single hero that LGD has used so far today, or at least as many as they can, in that 5-man push.
Yep, Enchantress is the only left that's not being banned out right now. It would not be surprising if they do knock her out of the pool as well. Meanwhile, LGD, thinking about a lot of melee heroes. Sven, by the way, was not really even a factor in Game 1, not throughout the pick ban stage. And To be honest, he's kind of first pick, first ban material. At least that's how the team's been treating him. But for now, we are on the second stage of the pick and ban, and if LGD is going for that push rat, which by the way they completely don't have to. Luna's a fine carry. We saw IG and DK use that to great effect in TI2. So we could play a lot more traditional kind of a drums, Tranquil Boots into your man style Luna, and that will be a very very fine hero in its own right. Works out kind of decently against Templar Assassin and Rubik. The AoE damage, the pseudo AoE damage she does is insane with Glaive. So we'll see how this game goes.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking to death the 5-man push, but I'm glad you sort of take a step back from that. They don't have to go for it. It's all we've seen when they pick the Luna. So of course, we're gonna talk about it, but we should leave that possibility open, especially with the smart bans from MUFC. That LGD may take a step back and say, okay, we're gonna go for something like a bounty hunter, which sure, they've got a hero in Lone Druid who can just crush him 1v1, especially with the Sentry Ward early on from the supports pulled over to him. So I don't know that they would go for it. Well, this looks more like 5-man. They get the Brewmaster, they get the big team fight. They also get a great hero to control TA and Lone Druid. Now, the only question for me is, I guess it's a solo mid Brewmaster. No, we've seen this matchup before, Lumi, and normally TA is the one having fun, not the Brewmaster.
Well, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I guess one thing that you can't really forget is the fact that Drunken Haze is decent if you want to put it in lane, but Drunken Brawler could be a thing as well, although, not exactly the thing that you want to count. Lich! Ooh. Lich is a hero that we haven't seen at all.
What's going on here? There's no real melee damage dealers. They're up against a lineup that looks like they want a 5-man at some point.
I don't use this word a lot, but I think Lich is just a bad hero against this particular lineup. The splits is going to make the Lich Chain Frost look silly. Shadow Demon Disruption is really good against Lich. And generally when you pick Lich, you pick it for laning and the armor that you get from the Frost armor, but...
it's interesting.
I'm confused.
Is it? I mean, maybe it's just a suicide lane Lich and they're just okay to give up the towers. I don't know what he really does as a support. If he's in the, we don't expect to see him in the safe lane. There are other supports that are better for that. But if he is, he's not doing anything against Darkseer. If he's dual laning mid, I mean, for what purpose? Are you expecting a Darkseer solo mid? LGD has run that from time to time. This is one where you'd really have to ask the captain or the drafter sort of what's the thought process, why the Lich pick. We'll see how it plays out. But LGD, they get the pushing support in the Leshrac.
This really reminded me of how the Chinese ran their Lich. This is back in a year ago, where he just literally sat on the mid lane, kept denying creeps there, and pulled the high-level camps. And of course, we've seen a lot of level 1 pulls. So you basically just dedicate a hero to literally deny 3 out of 4 creeps in every single wave against their mid. And perhaps they're maybe expecting a Templar Assassin versus a Darkseer matchup, and that's a matchup that will, send Templar Assassin, crying, because Iron Shell is no joke. So maybe that's it. I don't know. It's we'll have to wait and see.
Well, one thing you can, I mean, you can always sacrifice. Well, not always, but you can. I don't know. We'll see how it develops. The last pick is a Storm. Well, this is one way to disrupt the 5-man, is just to jump heroes. We're not going to see anything crazy like the Lifestealer bombs infested inside of Storm, but I guess it's a safe lane Storm, a solo mid TA, because Ohio's playing that one. And is it a jungle Lone Druid?
No, it's the top solo. Top solo, I think.
Off lane Lone Druid?
Yeah.
Maybe Lich just denying creeps to pull the lane back.
That's like what I'm expecting. Lich standing on the mid lane denying, or standing on the top lane denying, whatever the case might be. He could just definitely go into the long lane. We've seen that a billion times, but we'll have to wait and see. Introducing the players here on the Radiant side. Brax going to be handling the Darkseer. Had a tough game last game, and hopefully he's going to have a better one. Pycat going to be playing the Luna. Hopefully he's going to get the same amount of free farm he got last game. 1437 on the support. Shadow Demon again. We do see Misery playing support Leshrac, and last but not least, G most likely going mid with the Brewmaster. Definitely he is, as he is saving up gold for that quick bottle.
Yeah, G has normally been playing mid. I think Brax took it once in the G League qualifiers, but it seems like, well, G is going to go mid here today. Net on the side of MUFC. We have Net, who's God, he was so good on that Nyx assassin. He got a respect ban of it this game. In fact, not many players in the world will get a Nyx assassin respect ban, but Net has earned one. Now he's playing Lich. Not sure you can have the same kind of flashy plays, but we'll see. Maybe a big chain for us is in his future. We have the stand-in X Freedom. No more Ken, at least not for now in MUFC, but Freedom is going to be playing the Lone Druid. Sharky on the Storm Spirit. We expect him to get that safe lane farm. Lane as the support Rubik. And everybody's saving a bit of gold here. And Ohio going solo mid as the TA. I'm very interested to see Ohio's TA because I've cast him quite a few times over the past month. He's always been a solid mid, but I've never seen him like just dominate mid until today. And boy, he's done it every single game.
I didn't know how what he did in the other games. From what I saw last game was some quick control, and to be honest, very smart decision in item buying. You don't see that kind of combination even at highest level play, all the time. But nice snazzy ward being dropped up here by Lich, gonna block that level 1 camp to prevent a little bit of jungling being happening. And it is gonna be a jungling Darkseer as he is not gonna go on that bot lane. Suicide lane Lone Druid with a little bit of help of support Lich, so it is gonna be a dual lane bot. Something that we don't see too often, and whoa!
This is
I just realized MUFC was playing on the die because I was talking about Lich doing mid pulls, and that's only possible. I was like, what are we talking about?
It's that damn top bottom switch that
man.
I begged Valve to make it left to right, but I guess it just doesn't work as well with the layout. So you can turn your head sideways. I guess it would make more sense then. But LGD are running an offensive tri lane, and this I think is actually very smart. They expect that safe lane Storm Spirit. They figure Lich, he's either going to help mid or he's going to help the suicide lane. He's not going to be top, which means they can be aggressive, and Storm is going to get nothing. They are going to be able to do some pulls. They didn't block the small camp, and if they're not going to block it, then you expect them to probably just try and gank at that small camp. It looks like that's what they're up to. If they can't find kills top, they can transition mid and maybe set up kills in Ohio. I think this is essential for LGD. I don't think they can just sit back and try and farm too much, but do you think they're going to be able to find kills here? It seems like for the moment, Lane's playing very smart.
Yeah, I like the fact that LGD just countered the pool completely here by Ling, and Ling's going to have somewhat of a tough time getting some EXP. I might even say let them do the pool so you could actually just knock down the tower very quickly. When you have Diabolic Gig as well as Lunar's Blessing under tower, it's no joke. But also, on the same right, you don't want Stormstray to get up free EXP in the jungle or under the just tower as well. So, there's trade-offs here and there. But for now, you're right, they need to get some pig off. And to be honest, this squad needs a level 2 to actually start getting a pick off because you really want both Edict as well as Slurf to actually get those kills. Bottle coming on the mid lane here, that's going to deliver a quick bottle to Ohio. He definitely needs that. G right now playing very well, using Clap sparingly, but every time he uses it, gets off harass against Ohio, gets off a couple quick kills, pushing the lane. And the haste rune gonna get snatched up by Lich on the bot.
Well, this is a very anticlimactic haste rune. Only level 1, can't kill a Darkseer anyway with that. Once they get entangled, they've got a shot. It's really gonna come down to, well, luck, as it always does with Lone Druid. Look at the aggression from Pycat, because he's got the supports roaming through the enemy woods. They know the Lich is bottom. They're just continuing to put pressure, but they're not translating it into kills, and they're not pushing down the tower yet. The tower has taken a bit of chip damage, but nothing they can't live without. So far, so good. And you talked about Panda, and this is something... it's an interesting way to play it. You get a point Drunken Haze, you get Drunken Brawler, and the two of them together, what is it? 55% mischance?
A lot.
While they're
I don't want to do any live math as it always comes out wrong, but that's a lot of mischance. But more importantly for me, it is the fact that the Thunderclap does so much slow damage. It's a great pushing mechanism, and when you run the Templar Assassin mid lane, you expect outpush most other solo mids. Not against a Panda when he has enough mana support, but he is needing to bottle crow just a little bit here, as his career not flying, and that's taking him a long time to deliver that bottle.
Well, Lich continues to sort of hang around this bottom lane. I think the key is get that Lone Druid up to 6, and then we'll probably see Net go to do something else. At least level 5, so he's got the chance to entangle. That's going to make Brax think twice about being aggressive. The downside is Lich has been taking some experience, so Lone Druid's not really ahead in terms of levels. In fact, he's maybe a creep behind or so. Lane doing some really cheeky pulling. Storm continues to be sort of asphyxiated. So if we look at these lanes one by one, Ohio, he's getting okay far mid 13-9, but he's definitely losing his lane to G right now. G is out farming him. Top lane, Storm's getting nothing. Lane might even be getting more with these pulls, to be honest. And then bottom lane, I'd say, is a wash, so I would say LGD getting a slight edge in the laning stage.
Yeah, just a slight one. It really comes down to what's going to happen in about a minute, 2 minutes from now. Because if that trialing on the top doesn't get too much done, sooner or later the EXP gain of Ling is going to really outdo what the advantage that LG is trying to gain. You can see that LGD G is going to come around. He does have to boot to speed, and Ling's got to be very careful. Double damage rune on the Brewmaster as well, so it could really start a party up on the top lane. But we know the Sharky finally getting some levels under the tower. There's a Lucent Beam just harassing the hell out of him. They could easily dive a Sharky if he's not careful enough. Does have a lot of tango and the boot to speed picked up, so that's big. Where has that Lich been going? Lich has gone off the lane. Yeah, he's on the mid lane right now, trying to set up a gank here against GG, taking a bunch of damage. Drunken Haze not helping out. Drunken Brawler not helping out either. Oh, that last hit! Oh, man. And that's why it's Brawler Haze. It's no joke.
Wow, that was... I'm like 95% sure that was just going to be enough for the first blood. Instead, well, they do drive him back to Fountain. He doesn't have level 6 yet. This gives the TA a bit of a level advantage now. Lich, maybe we'll see him rotate top. The one weakness of this Lich, he can't stop the push. All he can do is try and harass and control the lanes. And LGD are exploiting that. Like you said, Edict is going to be max first. Great for pushing these towers down. That's going to mean boots up for Misery. 1437 already has his. It's also going to mean heroes like the Panda are closer to their Blink Dagger. Darkseer closer to probably that early mech, or, you know, we'll see. Tranquil Boots at least for now. LGD get this first tower, and this... It's not really the full-on pushing lineup, but it's a great mid-game team fight, so... I mean, my big concern right now is the Storm. Storm is not really a hero that you can have a horrible start with and turn the game around. And he's not getting much accomplished right now.
Yeah, we've seen teams run top lane Storms quite a bit. I mean, this is going back to Quantic when they had a Korok, if you could remember so far. And they tried it a couple times, to be honest. It wasn't exactly very successful. And I don't see many other teams run Storm top solo. And you do see, it seems like LG is thinking about pushing up top a little bit more. Even just warding off the level 1 pull camp this late in the game, that's big games.
Well, and it means that when Luna's, you know, farming in this lane, there's really not many ways to control the creep equilibrium. Ohio will go invis now. He gets Soul Catcher, but the nuke's coming out the other way. Sharky comes in. MUFC seem to have a few too many heroes at the point of attack. Misery dropping low, but the Panda ult. Suddenly 3 heroes on the side of LGD chasing forward. Boulder toss on Ohio. Dodges it. Oh, he dodges it with the meld, I believe. What a great play by Ohio. Instead, dies for the Lucent Beam anyway. Oh, man. Luna is here to clean up. Or maybe... Is she going to turn this one around? Not level 6 yet. Very close. Has another Lucent Beam. I think Sharky will die to this. Lane, no mana for him. Oh, if only he had a little bit of mana. He's wishing he did. Instead, G's chasing forward. God, G, if only he had a clap. Now, everybody just wishing they had cooldowns or abilities, but it looks like Lane is going to get caught out. Oh, the clap whiffs! Oh,
wow.
No. What a juke.
LG made such a big mistake. That was a free kill for himself or that Luna, and they would have won that one. But still, great engagement. Panda ultimate used and a lot of effect being done. Mid lane though, Spitter is gonna hit on MUFC. Ohio melts it away, but taking so much AoE damage, and that AoE damage is not gonna stop with Clapland. Looks like you want to take a fight right to the Misery, taking so much damage. Misery is dead, but meanwhile Ohio on the run. Ohio's dead, trading 1-for-1. Not exactly what they want right now. Sharky solo, not even level 6, just level 4. Searching to clap Iron Shell, providing so bunch of damage. And whether we want to call it a level 6 push, minute 8 push, they're just pushing and killing a whole bunch of people right now. That tier 1 tower and perhaps even the tier 2 in big trouble.
This is that 5-man Dota. You know, the interesting thing for me is it's a variety of different heroes. The core one seems to be the Luna by far. But, you know, there's a variety of heroes they incorporate into the strategy, and sometimes it's more about pushing the towers, sometimes it's more about pressure or ganking, so they make these adjustments, but it's the same basic formula. Even last game where it didn't quite work out the way they hoped, it was a similar strategy. You had the Enchantress just going for the early smoke ganks. LGD is showing a very clear and, you know, committed approach to these games. Whether it works or not, there's one style that they seem to be using every game. And this game, it looks to be working quite well. Now they're going to find Low Journey. Will go inside his ult. Oh, the Lucent Beam is late, so he doesn't lose that much HP at all. Now the
backstab, though. Coming in from behind the tower. The Lone Druid, oh no, Pycat a little bit of trouble as well. Of course, he's going to be tangling up, but here we go. LGD showed himself here. 1437 perhaps in a little bit of trouble. Where's the trap? No trap nearby here. You can see Rubik as, oh, the trap. There's one trap on top. 1437 trying to suicide to Roshan. He's very far away from that, just trying to hide, but Roshan finding the fray, and there's a very unlucky batch for him.
You know, I think he was like, maybe I can suicide Hiroshi, maybe I can buy my arcane boots if I sell this branch, but he was still going to be like 30 gold short. That's a big kill because arcane boots, when you're being this aggressive, are a huge item to pick up. They will throw out the Drunken Haze on Ohio. Ohio's getting close to a blink. I mean, if he rushes it, which it kind of seems like he is, he could buy those phase boots now. Lone Druid up to 1,000 gold. MUFC are hanging on to this one. They've only lost, well, they've lost 2 towers. They've lost the tier 1 mid, they've lost the tier 1 top. But a couple of failed, well, not failed ganks, but not really super effective engagements from LGD. I feel like MUFC, if they can just bait a bad mistake or two, maybe a big Chain Frost comes in, maybe your Storm's level 6 as a TP, they can turn this game around. But right now, it's definitely LGD controlling the tempo and playing their game, and that's the key for me. They want to be aggressive, they want you to fight them, they want you to try and clash early when you have heroes like Storm, Lone Druid, and a level 5 Lich who doesn't have Chain Frost yet. And so far, they're forcing MUFC to play their style, and it's working in their favor.
Yep, they're pushing the bot tier 1 tower right now. I didn't really like the transition from the mid lane to the bot. 2 hero behind the tower, 2 hero in front of it, and they really didn't get too much done. I'd much rather see them to just concentrate the push, you know, head against the wall, head against the tower, and knock down some early towers. They finally did that. Was delayed. They lost a couple of heroes in doing so. But the more important thing is that Sharky has been free farming on the top lane. Now he's very, very behind, and a catch up is very necessary on a hero like Storm. But they're not pressuring him, and then suddenly he's gonna pop out of nowhere and start, you know, at least initiating for the team.
Right, or maybe following up. There's a couple of ways they could try to do it. TA or Storm, either one of these heroes can go in first. Now, TA is a bit more sturdy, but let's be honest, they're both going to die if they jump in, but it's all a question of, like, what can you get when you jump in? Or can you find heroes caught out of position? Hard to find them out of position when they're always grouped up as 5. And I'm harping on it because, well, they keep on grouping up as 5. Disruption is going to find someone behind the tower, now the Soul Catcher, and a dead net. Oh man, too easy. And where do you go if you're MUFC? You don't have that crazy split push from last game. You don't really have a lineup that can punish this 5-man by split pushing, so what do you do? Well, apparently what you do is get picked off, so far anyway.
Man, that's why I say you need to pick up a Keeper of Light against this supposed pushing lineup, because they're going on your high ground. Pycat does have the double damage and still fairly, no, it's done. Running out. Drums could be used for any kind of team fight. Lucent Beam, or excuse me, the Eclipse has not been used just yet. They have so much team fight. Net does not have his Chain Frost either. I do believe they could persist in this push if they want to do so, but in fact, they want to go on the top lane here. Cannot allow Sharky to get any more free farm. Sharky, by the way, hit level 7.5. Treads already being finished. Yeah, Treads is a good choice here. You know, generally you would go for the Arcanes into Bloodstone. He is just so far behind. You just want stats, HP, raw stats, and he's getting that right now.
Oh, this is a big item. This is going to fuel that aggression. G picks up his Blink Dagger and has the Arcane Boots already. And now he's just going to start forcing heroes back off the towers. You know, whether it's a Night Stalker, whether it's a Brewmaster, I mean, they're running it the same way. We've seen other teams, they run the Brewmaster more as, you know, just a sort of a safety valve, a defense mechanism, a counter yanker. This is a very aggressive Brewmaster. Fits the style pretty well, and like you talked about earlier in the laning stage, Clap is also great in the mid game, and he's very difficult to bring down, even without many tank items. They start to set up a bit of a trap for Sharky. Split Earth ain't gonna latch. If it did, they might have been able to kill him. Still, Pycat continues to farm, is going for the Zhou build, not rushing anything too greedy, as far as items go anyway. Now, an interesting thing I mentioned briefly is Pycat doesn't take points in glaives. He just maxes out Lunar Blessing first. Zhou always gets at least 1 or 2 points in glaives, or has in the past. For Pycat, this fits the 5-man style better. You give your heroes just a little bit more damage when you're grouped up as 5. The team pushes better. Of course, if you're by yourself, or only with a few, then glaives might be more useful. But just an interesting little thing I noticed about how he builds the hero a bit differently.
Yeah, I completely agree with this adjustment. It is the correct thing to do. I mean, you know, giving your teammates extra plus, what, 20-something extra damage by maxing it. It's a lot more useful than the little tiny bounces that doesn't give you too much. Free tier 2 tower being picked up, and I do believe they have what it takes to go on high ground, especially with the Blink Dagger up on the Brewmaster. Not level 11 yet, so those pandas are not exactly very big. But on the bot lane here, the Chain Frost is dropped out. Immediate kills, and here we go. Chain Frost gets completely whiffed, and now Ling's gonna get focused. Ling not gonna make out of this one. And there we go, a couple more right clicks. Meanwhile, though, the Lone Drip perhaps in a little bit trouble as well. Sharky very low in terms of mana. Pycat so very fast, and we're gonna see a wind wall coming from the Storm, and that's a 6-second disable. More than enough time for these guys to crowd around that Brewmaster. Nice entangle. Pycat pops his ultimate. Sharky gotta be careful. Sharky gets mini stun. He's gonna go down to another entangle. Oh man. Oh, lucky entangles, and are we gonna see some Nova? Nice body blocking coming from Net. The bear gets resummoned. Yet another entangle. Man, PRD might have got introduced, but that was some. And did he steal the Master Ultimate? No, just Drunken Haze. He's not gonna make that simple mistake. But
oh, that's a big fight. This Lone Druid's almost got a relic. He's already got phase on the hero. He's not even really rushing it. That is such a big fight for MUFC.
They they got the tier 1 tower as well, I believe.
And the Panda ult's down too. This is pretty huge.
The decision to actually take a fight, you know, on the tier 1 tower versus, you know, pushing it, not exactly getting that racks up top, but at least damaging the tier 3. It's a very interesting choice. Hindsight's 2020, but to be honest, I thought I would have, you know, just knocked down the tower a couple of bit, because if you look at the Dowry squad, what actually defense do they have? A Remnant, a Fable.
I guess a really nice Chain Frost, but of course you've always got Panda ult, you can surge heroes away, you mentioned Disruption. It's not real easy to hit a Chain Frost, and we saw what looked like a great one, but Panda ult turned that around, made it pretty useless, so I'm with you, and even if you don't actually get kills, you're preventing them from farming, you're preventing them from playing their game, you're playing your kind of Dota, your kind of lineup. It really fits what LGD wants to do. Despite that fight maybe not being the best, though, BKB is coming soon for Pycat, and they are going to knock down the last outer tower. MUFC just biding their time, going for trades consistently. They are just not trying to actually take a 5v5 clash. Tower will be claimed by Ohio, who now has 2,800 gold. I think he might be rushing a BKB, and honestly, that makes a lot of sense. You're up against... I mean, there's still Demonic Purge. There's some things that will go through it, but you're up against a 5-man lineup. How many pickoffs are you really going to find with a Blink?
Right, and it looks like we're going to see a tiny bit of engagement for these tier 2 heroes on the mid lane here. Oh no, Ohio cancels his Mail Strike, and perhaps might miss a kill because of that, as G is running now very low. Another trap here. He's waiting for the Blink Dagger on cooldown, but the 2 illusions constantly slowing him down. One more trap's all they need. Chain Frost being used as well, but now here comes Brax with the assist, and no, Ned on the run gets blocked, and he's trying to TP out. And is he going to make it? Yes, just barely though. Chain Frost is down. I'm not sure if that's the avenue of opportunity for you to actually go in for a big push. What is LGD waiting for in terms of push? Am I overestimating their strength to take a team fight, or?
Well, Panda ult was on cooldown, but now it's back up. I'm with you. I mean, you've got level 11 on the Brewmaster, your BK, maybe the BKB on Pycat, but aside from that, you wait too much longer, suddenly that Lone Druid's got his Radiance, he's maybe working towards the, you know, whether it's a Vlad's and a Saltcraft, something just to help your team live through the fight. You know, even the casual cloak can make a huge difference against all the nukes coming out for the Luna. I think it's a bit dicey to wait too long. Roshan is another thing they could have their eyes on, and in fact they do. They go for the Rosh.
Yeah, Brax, by the way, has picked up the mech. We saw it used being the last team fight. I do fully suspect after this Roshan being taken down, put it on the Luna and then just charge right up that hill. And again, when you don't have a hero, when you don't have multiple heroes that could mow down the Cook wave very quickly, you're just literally inviting the enemy team to high ground you. Where that Kato at? Windrunner, Shaker, you know, all those AoE defensiveness. But no, they just want to make sure they stop the tier 1 pushes. Fair.
Well, they went for the Lich. They've experienced some of the benefits of that. You know, the lane control, the ability to just apply a little more pressure on the heroes and make them feel threatened with the slow, with a little bit more hero killing potential early on than Kodal, unless you hit a crazy blast from the fog. But now they might experience the downside if that push comes, and you know, with all the defensive capabilities of LGD, finding a good Chain Frost is going to be tough. But they continue to bide their time. They're just not forcing anything. I feel like they still have... I mean, they could take this late to some extent. They have Darkseer, they have Luna. It's not that they can't win late, it's just you probably have the most reliable chance to win now. So is it worth risking it to go later?
Yeah, and you got to keep in mind, pushing it up against a high ground against a Radiance Bearer is a lot harder than, you know, a Lone Druid without a Radiance. And once that Radiance is up, that's about time when Lynch starts to pick up Frost Armor, so your physical damage output is going to be somewhat less reliable, especially when that Frost Armor is on the Bear. He's going to tank a lot of punishment. You can see that G on the top lane, he's just waiting to be assassin and pick up kills, but look at the Observer Ward, very far up on the Radiant high ground, or excuse me, Radiant top lane, sees all the kind of yellow, saw yellow coming in, so they're going to be, are they setting a trap for this? Seems like that's the case.
Oh, this could be a big opening. Are they going to be able to focus him down? Here comes the Chain Frost. G drops low. G will fall. That was a 4 hero plus Bear Vacuum. But they get the kill on G. They force out a buyback. well worth a Chain Frost, I think. Although it does have a very long cooldown, and it's a pretty important tool for them. Now everybody TPing away. 1437 is on the hunt. The bear is here, and the bear is super freaking annoying. It's almost got a Radiance as well. They're still giving chase, but that's going to be it. Now 5 group top, no Chain Frost. LGD say, okay, we've got our Aegis, we've got our BKB on the way for the Luna. It's go time, baby.
Yep, and let's see how effective their push is. How easy would it be? Again, I've been really perhaps overestimating how powerful their push is, and let's see how good it actually is. Shadow Poison being layered by the Rubik, as that's a spell he saw. No Spade use just being yet. He's somewhat wary of that vacuum initiation. Tower just taking a whole bunch of damage. Glyph gets forced out here, slow push here, and they're waiting for the next creep wave. Again, the lack of AoE is really allowing the tower to take a lot more chip damage. And MUFC still working towards this defense. Where's the Lone Druid? Is he farming? Is he going for the Radiance? He does not have it finished.
He's here. They're going to start this fight off. They initiate on Brax. They don't want to deal with that pesky wall, but Disruption turns it around. Now Misery dropping low. In comes the BKB Ohio, but he is being kited. I believe he just got Demonic Purged. He's really not able to do as much as he wants, but they find 3. Now the Aegis is popped. The bear is up in the air, but what is Panda really accomplishing during this time? The answer is not a whole lot. Luna comes back to life, has her BKB, has her Eclipse, but what can she make happen? There's Refraction, there's Entangle, and there is just a heck of a lot of damage going the other way. Pycat trying to run, but traps are here. Pycat, no TP scroll. He's got to hoof it out of here. 1437, like a good support will, takes the bullet, says, okay, you can please accept my sacrifice instead. That is now 3 heroes dead, as well as the Aegis being popped, or was it 2 in the Aegis? I'm not sure, but G is going to get caught out. The creep's going on him. Now turns around, Clap, vacuuming in a few. Brax has rejoined the fight, has the mech, is going to maybe bail out his team just one by one. Here comes the backstab Eclipse. Oh, MUFC chased too far, and now they are being punished in spades. Oh boy, Pycat, what a maestro he was in that fight.
Just now you see me, now you don't. And when you see me again, backstab Eclipse. That was a level 11 Eclipse as well, forcing up a couple buybacks. Man, that bear did so much with the Radiance. He was just chopping up supports. The AoE damage, it's 45 per second, and that sounds like a small number, but that team fight lasted at least 20-30 seconds, especially with the chase involved. Sharky gets scoped out by a trap. He's going to be absolutely fine. There's no way to really disable or silence him, so he's going to zip out. But with those Aegis done, I really don't think LG can push up on the high ground, even with this successful team fight. They did pay out buyback, though, so not all is lost. But how much... Who's in control in this game right now? Is it LGD or is it MUFC?
You know, the way LGD's playing, it feels like they just have this... I don't know if it's a need or just a desire to end the game early, but the fact that they're trying to force it and not succeeding, I would say that's giving MUFC a little bit of momentum. I mean, for me... It's still LGD's, they're still the ones in control. If we just look at the map where the heroes are positioned, most of the lanes have been towards their side of the map. Now they start to go the other way. But with that fight, they maybe thinking about going on top. Instead, they're going to retreat. But now this is where, having a BKB on TA, like, how do you really kill this hero? She could just TP out if you gank her. There's nothing to stop that TP. Lone Druid, Radiance Bear can split push. Storm, not an easy gank. They only have one reliable stun. Well, not reliable, but only one true stun, and that comes in the form of Split Earth. So I think it's MUFC, not their game, but it's starting to feel like this might be the same kind of story as game number 1. Now they find Brax, and they just, well, maybe overkill a tiny bit, but they certainly secured that one.
Ned never tried to use that Chain Frost and make sure to get it.
Man.
I mean, we saw the earlier the low ground, the river to high ground rift in terms of the Chain Frost, but hey, you miss some, you hit some, and when you hit some, you get kills. So fairly nicely done. You talked about the fact that it's very difficult to gank the MUFC heroes. Conversely, it's very easy to gank the Radiance heroes because when you have a Stormsteer, when you have a Templar Assassin, that is always a available tool that you can use. And if we want to remind ourselves of Game 1, very similar situation. The Radiant team, or in this case LGD International, just got ganked so many times. Not only did that delay the push, and it just gave MUFC a lot of room to farm. You never want to give that Lone Druid a lot of room to farm.
Well,
because it's up to another 1,000 gold. Yeah.
Well, LGD is kind of playing like they're in a bit of a hole right now. Just very defensive position behind the tower. They forfeit the tier 1. Now they're at least stacking some Ancients. Pycat's going to get a little bit additional farm, but he's gone for not really that hard carry build. He's gone for more of the cheap, cost-effective mid-game timing push build. This is why you get the Drum, the Reign of the Keel, the Tranquil Boots. If you want to just be as efficient as possible, you go for things like Tread, straight into Manta style. You go for more of those big late-game items, but he's gone for, sure, very cost-effective items, but not going as much for the late game, whereas Lone Druid rushing Radiance, that is about as late game as it gets, aside from an Admiral Bulldog Midas, perhaps. But, MUFC, also we want to keep in mind, they have Roshan control if this game goes longer. Sure, they're lacking towers. That's my one concern for them, but they have that dire advantage working in their favor, so almost even when it comes to tower control, I want to say, and I don't know. I think LGD, this next fight is going to be the big one. If they win the next fight, I think they're in a great position. If not, you got to be real worried for them.
I mean, and again, this is going very, very ahead of myself. How much does 1 Rax even mean against this Dire squad? They have full capability to defend against the big creep waves, and I'm not sure if LGD is having enough momentum, even without 1 Rax of big creeps, pushing up top, let's say, whether they could get another lane of Rax. So I feel like this game is very much so in the control of the Dire, even though the score is very close. I mean, 1 kill difference, 3,000 gold difference is just very, very small. And when you're packing things like Radiance on the Lone Druid, all he really needs is like a cloak. And to be honest, he's so difficult to kill at this point. He has high natural armor. All the magical resistance is provided by that single cloak, and he's tanky. He's just really hard to bring down. And of course, his bear is going to be doing a lot of damage. Don't forget Frost armor, as this becomes more and more useful, especially when the physical damage is starting to pack up on the Radiant side. So
well. And although there isn't a melee carry, really, I'm not going to count the Darkseer or the Panda, so it's not like you're going to get that attack speed, move speed slow, but what you still get is the raw armor, and that's very helpful against a Luna, so I'm with you. I mean, that from that perspective, the Lich pick, as this game goes later, makes a lot of sense.
Yep. Well, they got to be careful. Don't try to chase out like they did previously.
Oh, yeah, that was... that's how LGD can really seize this game.
They did force out buyback in that previous engagement, so that was cutting the goal intake for the Panda. But for now, it seems like LGD is trying to content to take this game late, and that's one of the benefits of having a Luna on your team, is you do have to back up late game plan. It's not like Clinks where you're really, gambling it in the first 30 minutes or so. Luna is a fine carry in her own right, although still gets outclassed by Silver, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, as far as supporting casts go, LGD, they have Soul Catcher, and that is one way to just absolutely chew through the Lone Druid. But MUFC, they're not all about the Lone Druid. He's just been the big difference maker so far. But they've got Sharky with a BKB now. He starts to get annoying later on. TA starts to get annoying later on. LGD have a lot of single target abilities, but they're up against double BKB, and they're up against Lone Druid, who, well, no BKB, but it might as well be that he has one. He's so annoying to kill off. So they've got a lot of single target focus. Is it going to be enough? This is one of those games where it all comes down to execution. If someone makes a big slip up in positioning, if there's someone, who say just gets caught by an invis hero and that starts with a gank, if Storm jumps someone, that's how this game is going to be decided. It's looking better for MUFC. It's looking like they might be in slightly bigger control right now, but it still could go absolutely either way. So, well, there's a little initiation on Sharky, but he doesn't really care about that.
Meanwhile, we do see a Hyperstone being picked up on the Bear, so its DPS output is now very, very respectable. It's already very tanky. Of course, keep in mind the Frost Armor could be cast on the Bear as well. And yeah, they're saying if you're not going to push us, we'll keep on farming. Again, one of this really forcing LGD International's hand is MUFC. They're like, we have to better late game. Come at us.
No, with Darkseer, there is always a better late game. Or some would say.
Not sure. You can't actually make illusion of the Bear, though. So
right, that's a great point.
You can make illusion of the Lone Druid, although he doesn't really care.
I mean, there's no Dragon Knight. You're not getting a Frost Dragon on your side. It's still Darkseer. I mean, even
you're getting a Storm, which is not exactly the best illusion. You're getting a Templar Assassin.
Yeah, even TA, where you're not getting Refraction. I mean, it's about as bad of a lineup as you get for having a huge impact with Darkseer. It's still Darkseer, though. I mean,
But let's be honest. If you're depending on Darkseer for a late game carry, something is really wrong. So
double damage.
Well,
I don't think that's part of the plan for LGD to depend on the Darkseer for a late game.
Getting Pycat really fat might be, though. He's up to the Manta style relatively soon. It's got that new expensive recipe. He pushes out the bottom lane there, just 4-man behind him. They really think, they're just hoping MUFC is going to get greedy and go for this. But MUFC have shown they're not really. I mean, that one chase top, yes, but over the past 2 games, like this, what we've seen so far from this one and the other one before it, they haven't. Well, here we go. Here comes the huge engagement. They want to go on Sharky. It's going to be a big vacuum, but BKB is here. Luna Eclipse is here, doing absolutely nothing on the 2 key heroes, Ohio as well as the Storm. Misery dropping low. Now Sharky is being brought down by, well, maybe not. He's just killing everyone. 1437 getting butchered. Meanwhile, on the other lines of play, Ohio might fall. No, he's going to get a fresh refract. Yes, he will die. Now the Lone Druid being chased away by the Panda. Could look to Blink the Bear, resummon. Now the Radiance Burn is going to prevent that Blink Dagger from being used. In the end, what was our casualties? It looks like a 2-for-1.
2-for-1 and a buyback on a Templar Assassin. Good focus
So 2
here
for 2
by
then.
yeah, 2-for-2, but the hero that died on the Radiant side were 2 supports, and they forced out buyback on the Templar, so that's very, very good. That's going to delay her item input by a lot. We saw the use of the Fire Panda. What the Radiant did, or what Panda did, was just stick all 3 Panda on Ohio, and he just got brought down very, very quickly, very easily as well. So very good focus being done, and without Templar Assassin to aid in terms of the trap, that Syllabary Bear actually can't DPS as much as he'd like to do so. That slow is a very big component for them to chase us effectively.
Right, it's sort of like having track on your side, just making it easier to chase, whether it's by slowing, whether it's by increasing your own move speed, or even something like... Well, here they go in the Roshan. They're going to just go for this. There is a Radiant Ward. I believe it spotted them. They don't care. They're just going to mow this thing down real quickly. They've got Meld. They're going to drop it now. Now Roche sitting at -2 armor, it looks like. And Brax gets caught in the middle of 5, but he vacuums the Bear onto the high ground. Can be recalled, though. Will it be recalled? There you go. Bear's back down. Now Brax has used his big AoE initiation. He'll fall first. They did force out a BKB from Sharky. Immediate buyback from Brax. They want this damn Roche. It's dropping low. There is the casual cloak on Lone Druid. Clap on nothing. Oh, the Radiant Sail. Oh, the Aegis stolen by G. Ooh, what a play, but an even better Chain Frost, perhaps. G dropping low, zipping onto the high ground of Sharky. Now trying to run away his Misery. Everybody just running all over the place in this fight. When it's all said and done, Ohio comes in, cleans up 1. Oh man, this is truly just trash collection for him, or so he would like to think. Getting 2 kills, getting rid of the Aegis there, so getting the 1. Now going back in onto Brax. Brax just getting brought down quickly. Ohio with the triple kill. He wants an Ultra. He should be able to get it blinking forward. 1 more. No, it's gonna be stolen by his own team. Lone Druid snags it. Now Lone Druid is gonna die. Gets entangled. Ohio can maybe find this kill, but he's a little bit worried about the aggression. He's gonna try to run. There's an Ion Shell on this Lone Druid, or on this Panda. Now it wears off, though. Ohio's still running. Blinking forward. Has that... TA should be okay. In fact, here comes the support. Here comes Sharky. That Storm's back in the fray. They want G. He's got the blink, but it's not able to cast it. They force out a Primal Split, and that is, well, as long as you don't die, totally worth it.
It's a big win. Zip down, Sharky, my friend. He's just on the run, and now Link's coming out to help. There's a Dispel to break the stun. Their Magic Wand's up right now. There's this Boulder Bash. Sharky is getting precariously low, but seems to be a pretty good bait. And you can see a Link is just chasing after the Panda. He wants a Panda split. Not going to get it. And G immediately claps after. I think ultimately it was good decision for the Dire team to actually go into the Roshan camp to take that one, despite losing a team fight just before that, because they realized Eclipse is down, Panda Ultimate is down. They gotta just go for the Roshan there. Unfortunately, Brewmaster snatched it. So ultimately, it was a fair trade here and there, but with Templar Assassin getting so many kills, I'm not sure whether either team got a big advantage.
I mean, she's got pretty much, all her core items. The BKB, the Blink Dagger, the Treads, and now starting to work towards the damage item, a Daedalus. And this is going to be helpful on multiple fronts. You can just blink in and assassinate a lot of these supports. If you get a lucky crit, maybe you can kill off, well, if not instantly, then very quickly, the Leshrac, the Shadow Demon. Darkseer, even Darkseer is possible, although he's got a lot of armor. You probably need a +1, but that's where Storm comes in. I think that's a huge win for MUFC. Sure, the Aegis was stolen, but when it's all said and done, it's gone now. And LGD didn't really come out ahead in any other front. We're also seeing Luna really start to fall off as a carry to a certain extent, because sure, she still gives her team tons of damage with Lunar Blessing. The problem, though, is it's flat damage, so it's not going to scale as well into the late game. And the other issue is a big chunk of her damage is Eclipse, and BKBs and the Casual Cloak and Lone Druid doing a lot to counter that.
Right. Though as she picks up more and more physical DPS item, her glaives
Right.
are starting to, provide decent AoE damage for the team. One thing that's very impressive for me in these two games I watch MUFC play is that despite having the late game advantage, they're not shy to smoke up. Just 20 minutes in, 30 minutes in, should look for a pickoff because not many. Again, if you get that pickoff, you're literally buying yourself at least 2 minutes of free farm, and that's a big way to look about it. And here we go, more farming going on Sharky. Sharky starting to become a pretty big factor. All these team fights, he just goes straight on the Leshrac, goes straight on the Shadow Demon because there's nothing that these two supports could do against a extremely mobile, magically immune hero. That's what that's his role, to pick off these supports. And when these supports are being disrupted, they're not landing Splitter, they're not dropping, a perfect soul catcher. So yeah, that's a very good way to use that storm.
And along those lines, it's also when he jumps in, they're not focusing Ohio. Ohio was the cleanup crew in that fight. He came in later, and then he just had free reign because all the big stuns, a lot of the big nukes had already been used, were on cooldown. Storm had drawn a lot of the focus fire. Ohio just strolled in, and it was like watching a guy in a Ferrari with an Uzi just blasting it out the window. I mean, just cleaning up. Still, LGD breach high ground in the bottom lane. They've got an Aghanims up on the Panda. They blink forward onto the Lich. Oh, the Ion Shell, that's a huge start to this fight. There is no Chain Frost, and boy, it was an amazing Chain Frost in the pit. Clap was stolen by lane. It's a nice nuke to have. It's not going to change this fight by itself. In comes the Lone Druid Bear. Still doesn't have that Assault Crush. Ohio joins the fight. Those glaives are mowing down the racks. That kill on Lich could prove to be pretty big. 4 staff away from lane. Now the zip away from Storm. And look at the glaives. You just try and stand in range to defend your tower. You take a lot of damage. The Bear will be brought down. Sharky jumps in, but he's dropping fast to those glaives. He's got to get the hell out. Now Ohio wants the hell in. In comes the Eclipse, but what is it actually killing? It's just killing the Bear. Eclipse was stolen by lane. No, actually Lucid Beam. Not what he was hoping for. And they're going to get a set of racks. That Lich kill, I mean, it's only a Lich, but I feel just the threat of the Chain Frost really was making LGD a lot more scared. Now they get one lane of racks. This LGD really just seizing this game by the jugular. It looks like they are. Really nice play from them. They get one lane of Rex. Will they be punished for it? The Chain Frost is here. Oh, it's a nice Chain Frost too, but the Panda ult is pretty good. Pycat gets focused down. Pycat will Manta to try and survive here. Now the disruption. Try to keep him alive. Pycat should fall. He will fall. Now into Brax. How many heroes will fall in the end for this lane of Rex? It looks like 3 dead. Buybacks coming out everywhere. The Panda ult still going. Still being such an absolute pain. Wants to kill Net before it's all said and done. Will this fight ever end? Now onto 1437. He'll get picked up. Panda ult about to end. Can they steal it? Rubik actually 4 staffs away. Afraid of the blink clap perhaps. Now he comes back and he steals. No, he steals Thunderclap.
Clap. Yeah, G just spammed the clap button there. Good job covering that team fight because that was all over the place. Really, MUFC cannot defend in their base, not because they're not as strong as a Radiant team, it's because the buildings are bouncing non-stop. I love the split that Pycat did with his Manta. A lot of Manta play would just split and right-click, but he spread his illusions out, and things were just bouncing back and forth, back and forth. There was so much damage, and man, they gotta get insurance or something for these buildings because the lateral damage was insane over there.
It's true. I mean, this is something you mentioned, the glaives. As it gets later into the game, once you start to get those damage items up, which, let's be honest, she doesn't even really have them. I mean, she's got a Manta and a Drum. She doesn't have the Butterfly. A Ring of Akil. I mean, she's got some items that give decent chunks of damage, but there's not like that one big, all right, this is your DPS physical hard carry item, and she's still hitting hard. I really think the Lich dying to start that fight cost them quite a bit, though. I mean, there were some opportunities for Chain Frost there, and, well, dying at the start isn't going to allow it to happen, but LGD, they smell blood in the water. They're grouped up top. They want to go for possibly a second lane of Rex, and if they get this, dare I say it, that's probably going to be the game.
Yeah, the support's got to be staying very, very far back. Yeah, Storm has to go in the support and make sure they don't do too much. There is no ultimate on the Panda, although as I say that, very close on cooldown. It's up back now. And again, here we go, the Glaives doing some big words. It's on bouncing everything. Again, look at the split of these illusions, making sure that they don't die. Here we go, Storm zipping in on 1437, focusing down, self-disruption, Chain Frost bouncing on creeps right now, and Luna, Eclipse damage. It's just burning everybody down. The Rax being focused on GG says, you guys team fight, I focus on Rax, and that's 2 lanes of Rax. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to game 3 because this push is unstoppable.
Ban Luna. I mean, honestly, make LGD beat you with someone else. They are now 5-5 with this hero, I believe. That's the record. I think it was 4-4 coming into this, at least in official matches. Now it's 5-5. And that's too much. I mean, make the win with something else. It is just so annoying. And it's not just that the hero is strong, but they use it so well, and it fits what they want to do so perfectly. It's like the mag or the Sven for, you know, a lot of these European teams. It's just something that fits what they want to do. They're executing it to perfection. For me, that's still the key hero. But LGD, 3 lanes of Rex, that's got to be it. MUFC might fight on, but there is no coming back from this.
Yep, nice stealing of the Panda ultimate by Ling here, trying to get heroic going on, and Pycat though does not care. Pycat does right click, he can even kill the pandas.
Yep, and like you said, things will die. Oh, those glaives. I mean, it's silly too, because Storm found like the perfect angle of attack. He walked up like right sort of south of where the top tower was. Then he zips in, so that he's not actually taking any glaive damage on his way in, and he still just almost dies instantly to the bouncy glaives. Like you said, Lumi, we are going to game number 3, our first game 3 of this event, hopefully not the last. Oh boy, game 1 was just a really patient performance from MUFC. It was a tightrope walk for them to come back in that game on the back of a brilliant Ohio Taker performance. Game number 2, well, it was LGD getting their heroes and executing what they wanted to do brilliantly, showing that their Luna +4 is something to be feared. Thanks. That wraps it up for game number 2, guys. When we come back, we will be live with game number 3. This is the GEST Dota 2 Challenge. The Challenge, as we're calling it here. Brought to you by Dota Talk. Presented to you, of course, by Beyond the Summit. We are in the winner bracket finals. Whoever wins this next game secures a berth into the grand finals. They will have a 1-game advantage in a best out of 5 against whoever makes their way through that tough lower bracket. It is double elimination, of course, so a lot at stake. First place, the only place to get any sort of prize money in this event, $1,500 for your first place team. We're not there yet, but we are getting a little bit closer. By the time today is done, someone will be in that grand finals. Let's find out who it's going to be when we come back. LGD International will be fighting against MUFC, the North American, the European imports, who have shown some great prowess as a squad, up against MUFC, back after this short break. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Of course, I'm LD. He's Luminous if you enjoy his casting. Twitter.com/LuminousInverse if you enjoy mine. Twitter.com/LDDota. More importantly, if you want to support the tournament, buy the in-game ticket. If you want to support Beyond the Summit, subscribe to the channel. It really does make a difference, or just consider turning off ad blocks. So with all that being said, we'll bid you adieu for game number 2, but when we come back, we'll be live with the deciding game number 3. See ya in a short while.